13, page 77. Hey, AC, a couple of pictures. If you can see those okay, let's see if I can brighten it up. That's as bright as it goes. Rose, I'm so sorry. Did you see all of my emails to you about your Magi paragraphs? Okay, you've got 3 of them from me because I kept making mistakes, but it's all good. Yeah, it's all good. If you have any questions about that, just let me know, okay? That looks great. Good, 100 on this. Yep, that's good. Yeah, 100 on this, good. Very good, everybody. Put you guys rocking the homework. So this is a short one. A volunteer, you're putting this on the same paper, right? Yes. All right, I'm going to collect those in a couple of weeks at the last one in September. And that will be a journal grade. So you just keep them all on the same sheet of notebook paper. All right, so this one here, title for the first one, you don't have to raise your hand, just call out. Title for that one on the left with the kitty cats.
Spilled milk.
Like it, good.
I had spilled milk child.
Good. Others?
The cleaning crew.
Good. Who else? Come on, I know you've got it on. You're looking at it right there on your paper. All right, what about this one?
Stuff for real.
Good. Who else?
Is there anything cuter than this?
There is not. Yes, that's a good one. Yes. Except maybe the first one. I don't know. That's pretty cute too. But yes. Yeah. Is there anything cuter than this? Love that. Who else? Can you tell which one is the real dog in this one? Can you see it?
All right. No.
Who sees the real dog in there? Come, do you see it?
He's laying his chin down.
Is it the 5th one from the...
So, who's it? Laura, come point out. Laura Murphy, come point out. Where's the real dog? There is a real dog in there. Let's see. Yeah, there he is. Yeah, 3rd from the right. Yeah. All right, and who's the real kid in the no, they're this one. All right, very good. All right, let's go ahead and do the vocabulary quiz. Here's our agenda for today. Vocabulary quiz number 5. We're going to do a little review. We've got 3 new lessons. We'll break. And today we're going to talk about plot diagram and conflict for your writing. All right, so here you can go ahead and set your paper up. 6 vocabulary and A through F. Please make sure you write your name on your paper right now. Write your name in. We'll get started in just a minute. Let me give you a minute to get your paper set up, and then we'll do the vocabulary quiz. Have you been using can and may correctly now? All right, we ready? All you have to do is match. Don't write the definitions in. There you go. Okay, if you have your paper, I'll go ahead and collect. If you're still working, you have 1 minute to finish. All right, and if you're done, we're on page grammar 75. Use your pencil and your highlighters. We'll begin with the review, about 30 seconds. Okay. All right, so on page 75, all right, so let's do a little review. So you don't have to take any notes for this. We're just going to review the 4 verb parts, the 4 principal verb parts on page 75. All right, what does number 1 say, everybody?
Present tense.
Okay, number 2?
Present participle.
Present participle. Number 3?
Past tense.
And number 4?
Past participle.
All right, so present tense we're familiar with, past tense we're familiar with, okay? So the only 2 new things that you worked on for homework was present participle and past participle, all right? And present participle is one of your be verbs plus verb plus ing. So those be, what are those 5 be verbs that live in the house? What are they? Am, are, is, 2 W's. Was and were. All right, so all 5 of those live in the be house. So one of those plus the verb plus ing, that's your present participle. And then your past participle, you have one of those 3 have verbs. Who are the 3 haves that live in the house? Have, has, and had, plus the verb plus ed for past. All right, let's try that. We're going to go down the road. We're going to start with Jacob back there. This is the verb, squirt. Squirt. So we're going to start with present tense to Jacob, and then AC, you give us the present participle, past tense to Caitlin, and then Andrew, the past participle. So Jacob, what's the present tense for squirt?
Squirt.
Squirts. There it is. AC, what's your present participle?
Is squirting.
Is squirting. There it is. Caitlin, past tense?
Squirted.
Squirted. And Andrew, past participle?
Had squirted.
Had squirted. Good. All right, Josh, let's start another one. Squish. Squish, present tense.
Squishes.
Squishes. There it is. All right, Zoe, present participle.
Is squishing.
Is squishing. Good. Laura, what is past?
Squish.
Squished. And Laura?
Has squished.
Has squished. There you go. Rose. And then we'll do Isaac, and then we'll do back to Jacob and AC. All right, here you go. You ready? This is your verb. Ooze. That's how you spell it, by the way. Ooze. There it is. All right, so Rose, present tense.
Oozes.
Oozes. Yes. Isaac, do the present participle.
Is oozing.
Is oozing. Yes. Good. All right, Jacob, past.
Oozed.
Oozed. Past participle, AC.
Had oozed.
Had oozed. Good. Very good. All right, turn to page 80, the prepositions. 80, the prepositions. All right, so everybody's going to do this. We have a whole big list of prepositions there on 80 and on 81 and on 82. Remember, some of those prepositions will have more than one word. All right, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to start back with Laura. I want you to give us an example of a prepositional phrase using anything you see here in this photo.
The dog is beside the couch.
All right, dog beside the couch. And Laura, do another one, please. Any preposition that you see, use this picture.
Which one? Which Laura?
You, Laura. Laura M with the stars on her mask.
The coat is on the couch.
On the couch. Good. Rose?
Dog looks like it wants to jump onto the couch.
Onto the couch. Good. Isaac? Anything you see in this picture, a different preposition.
Dog around the couch.
Around the couch. You could go around the couch, couldn't you? Yeah. Zoe?
The dog wants to knock the vase onto the floor.
Onto the floor, yes. And he might do that. Sometimes they get excited. All right. Josh?
The light is on the table.
Good. Yep. Andrew?
The plant is in the pot.
Good.
Inside
Yes.
the pot.
Yep. That's right. All right. To Caitlin.
The flowers are next or beside the lamp.
Good. Yes. AC?
The white pillow is next to the black pillow.
Good. Yes. And Jacob, round us out.
The dog is near the couch.
Near the couch. Good. All right. And there's your preposition review. Turn to page 88. All right. These were the perfect tenses. The perfect tenses. All right. First of all, everybody, what does perfect mean in this? Completed action. Right. The action is done. It's finished. It's perfect. All right? That is what perfect means in these verbs. All right? So we talked about present perfect, we talked about past perfect, and we talked about future perfect. Now we're really getting into some fun grammar, aren't we? All right. Did I do another one with? No. Okay. Now, all of these, every single one, present, past, and future perfect, you form the same way. It's one of your have verbs from the have house. What are those three that live in the have house? All right, so it's one of those plus the past tense. Okay, so let's practice this with some more verbs. Where should we start this? Let's start with Andrew this time. I got some more verbs for you. All right, so let's start with Andrew. So you're going to give, we'll go present perfect, and then Josh will give past perfect, Zoe will give future perfect, and then we'll go Isaac to Rose to Laura, and then back around this way. All right. So Andrew, you're going to start us off. Here is your verb, boogie. Has boogied. Good. All right, Josh. Past perfect. Had boogied. Right. And Zoe, future perfect.
Will have boogied.
Will have boogied. There they are. Good. All right, to Isaac. Sneeze. All right, so the present perfect. So it's going to be has or have. You pick.
Has.
And the past. Sneeze. Right, has sneezed. Rose, the past perfect.
Had sneezed.
Had sneezed. And Laura.
Will have sneezed.
Future is will have sneezed. All right, now Laura. Growl. Present perfect.
Has growled.
Has growled. Good. To Jacob.
Had growled.
Had growled. AC.
Will have growled.
Will have growled. That's right. And for Caitlin, we're not going to leave you out. I know how much you want to do this. Okay. Let's do snarl. All right. Present perfect.
Has snarled.
Has snarled. Back to Andrew.
Had snarled.
Had snarled. To Josh.
Have snarled.
Do future.
Will have.
Will have snarled. All right. The past perfect. This one here, number 3. Which participle verb from page 75 is also a past perfect? They're the same thing. If you need, go back and look at page 75. Which one of those is also past perfect? There's only the 4 choices there. Which one of those is a past perfect? It's a have verb plus the past. You see? Which one? Yeah, it's the past participle. Those are the same thing. A have verb plus the past. All right. Are we all good on that? Good on that. All right. In your table of contents, 16, 17, and 18, that's what we're doing today. 16 is orange. So we're talking about nouns. We're talking about the subject. 17 and 18 are blue. So those are going to be verbs. So turn to the table of contents and let's go ahead and it's on Roman number 4. Roman number 4. All right. 16, 17, and 18. 16 is orange. That's a noun or subject. And 17 and 18 are both blue because those are verbs. Those are both verbs. Does anybody need to borrow a color? You're good to go. Yeah. Those are awesome. Very good. I like to do the table of contents. I think it's helpful. You can look at the table of contents and look at the colors and you know automatically which of the lessons go together. You know which ones are about nouns. You know which ones are about verbs, adjectives, and so on. All right, so that's why I like to color code that table of contents to go along with the lessons. I think it's easier for you to use it that way. All right, we ready to hop in? Jump in? Woohoo! All right, so we are on page 93, people. 93. Page 93. I'm going to introduce you to a little friend today, Jerry. Jerry the gerund. All right, so just look up here for a moment and then we'll go to the notes. All right, so here's this little guy. This is Jerry. He's a gerund. This has to do with how we diagram him. All right, you see how he's doing this kind of Egyptian little thing? You do it. I know it looks silly. Do it, really. Don't make me look silly by myself. Yeah, there we go. So that's how you diagram him. It'll make sense to you in just a moment, okay? So a gerund is called a verbal. Do you see that little word verb in there? Verbal. Now, normally, a verb would show what? Action, right? However, a gerund is a verbal. Verbals do not show action at all. All right? It looks like it's a verb. That's why it has that little word verb in there, but it is not acting like a verb. All right? A verbal can be a noun, it can be an adjective, and it can be and adverb. And you can pick them out pretty easily because they have an ing. All right? So that is what a gerund is. It's a verbal. It looks like a verb, but it's not. It's not the verb in the sentence. It could be a noun, could be an adjective, could be an adverb. And what does it end with? Ing. All right, so let's look at some notes. I'm going to go straight to the website for this. Yes, I agree to all of that. Yes, yes, yes. Sounds good. Okay, here we go. All right, to the website. All right, to the folder for today. We're in week 6. Woo-hoo. Woo, yay. All right. So here we are in week 6. All of the class notes are here in case you need to go back and refer to them. All right. Now, I forgot to highlight the vocabulary at the top. All right, so go ahead and highlight what you see. And in the vocabulary box, you can highlight those as well. I just forgot. 2 words out there, incriminate, recrimination. They both have that root word crim in there. It looks like crime because both of those words have something to do with crime. Incriminate, recrimination. All right, so highlight what you see. Notice, oh, and this is orange. Notice that there's color here to go along with that part of speech. So in talking about verbals, they can be a noun, which is orange, an adjective, which will do yellow, or an adverb, and those are in green. All right? I love it. Click, click, click. It means you're prepared. Good for you. Good for you guys. All right, so we just talked about this from our Jerry that we saw on the other screen. Excuse me. A verbal. It does not function as a verb. It can be a noun, an adjective, or an adverb. Okay? Even though it's got that little word verb in there, it's going to look like a verb, but it's not the verb in this sentence. All right? A gerund ends with an ing, and the gerund functions as a noun. Okay? So the gerund is going to be a noun. A verbal could be one of those 3, but the gerund itself is going to be a noun. All right, let's see. As the gerund, it's going to be the gerund usually is the subject of a sentence. All right, nouns appear in other places. It can be the object of a pronoun. It can be the object of a preposition. All right, a gerund, and what we're going to talk about today, these are going to be the subject of your sentences. All right, and this is just restating. If the ing form of the verb is the subject, then that's a gerund. All right? It's kind of saying the same thing, just in a different way. All right, so let's look at what this guy looks like. So when you're diagramming, see, that's why we have the little Egyptian guy. All right? Because that's how you diagram the gerund. Doesn't he kind of look like the little Egyptian guy I just showed you? That's Jerry. That's Jerry. We've got some orange and blue happening in these sentences because we've got a subject, a noun, and we've got a verb. That's blue. So in this first example sentence, we have writing proved. The subject of that sentence is writing. Now, nobody is writing in that sentence. Writing is not your action. Proved is the verb. Proved is your action. So writing is the subject. That's your gerund. Proved is your verb. And that is in blue. Same with the sentence, voting requires. Nobody is voting in that sentence. Voting is not the action. Requires is the action. Voting is your subject. That's the gerund. Campaigning turned. Okay, nobody is campaigning in that sentence. Turned is your verb. Campaigning is the subject. And you see when we diagram those gerunds, we use a jerry. We use that little Egyptian guy there. All right? Good to go? Easy enough, right? All right. All right, so at the top of the next page, let's see, what is this? 94? Yeah. Top of page 94. All right. Same with your orange and blue. I just want you to get used to identifying the gerund and the verb. So in letter A, managing is the gerund. That's your subject. Is your verb. That's a linking verb. We're going to talk about that in a couple of lessons here today. B, vetoing is the subject. Angered is the verb. Vetoing, angered. Letter C, residing is the subject. Remains is the verb. Residing, remains. All right, A, B, and C. All of those orange words you highlighted are all gerunds. All right, very good. In the middle. Now, the gerund has two tenses. What's another word for tense? It also begins with a T. Time. All right, so you can have present time and you can have perfect time. Remember, perfect means the action is completed and it has a have verb. All right. The perfect, it has a have verb and the past tense, but you can also have present, happening now. All right? And this little house plus verb plus ed, those are the perfect verbs. That's why I put that there, just to remind, oh, that's right. If it's perfect, it has a have and a past tense verb. All right, let's see this guy down here. Example number 2 just tells you how to diagram a sentence with a gerund. All right, and it's right here. So here's the example sentence. Smiling, improved. Smiling is your subject, that's your gerund. Improved is your action verb. Smiling, improved. So we have our little Egyptian guy, our little Jerry, and then our verb. And Mrs. Mises' thumb over there on the side. All right? All good to go? All right. Down at the bottom of 94, your gerund, having found. Your verb, brought. Having found, brought. There's your subject, and there's your predicate. Okay? All right, at the top of page 95, studying increases. Studying is your gerund. There's your subject. Increases is your verb. That's your predicate. All right, I think we can do some practice. All right, right there on 95, we're going to do A through G. And what I want you to do, A, B, and C, I want you to highlight the gerund in orange and the verb in blue. It says just write what the gerund is, but I want you to do this. I want you to highlight the gerund in orange and the verb in blue for A, B, and C. Let me switch to...
Is the gerund always first?
It depends on if it's a question. In these sentences, yes, the gerund will be first. And look for that ing. That's your dead giveaway that you've got a gerund. Okay, these are class notes 16. Here we are. All right.
I'm sorry, did you want us to do D through G also?
Not yet. Are we ready to go with A, B, and C? I can't highlight when I'm in the website, so that's why I came here. Okay, so just A, B, and C. All right, well, let's go ahead together and catch up with us as we go. So in B, what is the gerund? In B? I'm sorry, A I gave you. You're right, conserving and then saves. All right, B, what is the gerund? Referring. So that should be in orange, referring. What is the action verb? Shows. Yeah, there's your action verb way over there. So that should be in blue. In letter C, what is your gerund? Touring. All right, so that should be in orange. And what is your action verb? Good. Enlighten. So that, not the whole thing, just that. Just that in blue. Enlighten. Very good. All right, D, E, F, and G. So for these, I want you to highlight the gerund, and then is it a present tense or perfect tense? And that's your verb. Is it present tense or perfect tense? And that's the verb. No, I'm sorry. The gerund itself is either present tense or perfect tense. So all you're highlighting is orange on these. Only orange. No blue. So these, let's just look at the gerund. So you highlight the gerund in orange, and then is it present tense or perfect tense? Yeah, sorry about that confusion. Only orange on D, E, F, and G. All right, D, what is the gerund? Having appointed, there it is. That should be in orange. And is it present or perfect tense? It's perfect because it has a have, right? E, what is the gerund? Executing or executing. Executing, executing. I think it's executing, yes. Is it present or perfect tense? Present. F, nominating. Very good. All right, present or perfect tense?
Present.
Okay. G, having stood, present or perfect? Perfect tense. There you go. All right, let's practice some diagramming. These right here. All right, so turn to page 96. Let's practice some diagramming. All right, so you can do these. There's plenty of margin space. All right, so the first thing I did is I highlighted the gerund in orange, the verb in blue. The gerund in orange, the verb in blue. And then I want you to highlight it. All right, so you'll have to make a Jerry. Number one should look like this. You got your Jerry, right? And you've got cooking. Kind of comes on a diagonal like that. And then does, capital because it's the first word in the sentence. Interest. There's the verb. So let's just do 1 through 5 on these. 1 through 5. You'll highlight and diagram them. Highlight and diagram them. I gave you number 1, so you do 2 through 5. 2, 3, 4, and 5. Shelley. I'm going to take a picture and put up the answers in just a moment. So 2, 3, 4, and 5. You can highlight and diagram. So AC, to answer your question, do you see how in number 1, the gerund is not first, right? It kind of comes in the middle of that question.
Okay.
Yeah. Here we got the answers. There you go. You got through 5?
Oh.
Okay. All right. So you're getting used to diagramming with Jerry?
Yes.
Okay, make Jerry your friend. All right, he's a pretty cool dancer. All right, take 30 seconds and we're going to move on to lesson 17. All right, let's go. All right, so bye-bye these. All right, where are we? Let's get back. 17. Just do it here. All right. It should be blue at the top. Again, I forgot. I'm sorry. Blue. All right, so the progressive verb forms. Progressive. We'll talk about what that means. Progressive. 2 new vocabulary. I did remember on this one. Council, State of the Union message. Here are the definitions for those. Consul, I guess it's consul. State of the Union message. All right. So here we have a review. All right, so we have 6 main verb tenses. These we've talked about. All right, this is a review for us. All right, so we have present, past, future. We got that. Present tense, past tense, future tense. We got that. We also have present, past, future, perfect. Perfect means the action is done. All of those have a has or have and a past tense verb. That's perfect. Action is done. It's completed. All right, so we've got those 6. All right, so for a moment, just live in the world where it's very simple. It's just those 6. Fantastic. We've got that. We've practiced that. No problem. Now, let me wreck it. We're going to add to those 6. We're going to complicate it. All right, so all 6 of those verbs have a progressive form as well. Progressive means it is in progress, continuing. All right, that is progressive. It is still happening, still going on. All 6 of those have a progressive form. So you have a present progressive. You have a past progressive, future progressive. You also have a present perfect progressive, past perfect progressive, future perfect progressive. Isn't this fun? All right. Let me go back to the slides. I do have a slide for this one to help us, because as if that wasn't fun enough. All right. There's Jerry. Okay. So your present, past, and future, these are going to be a V verb, a B verb, a verb with an ing. All right, what are those 5 that live in the B house? Am, is, are, was, were. All right, so these first 3 are all formed with a V verb, verb and an ing. All right, simple as that. All right, so on your notes, I want you to draw a line after number 3. After number 3. So you have 1, 2, 3. Draw a line after number 3. Right? You've got 1, 2, 3. All right, I want you to draw a line. And I want you to draw this on the side to remind you that all 3 have a be verb and then the verb with ing. All right? Put that over in the margin. Draw this little guy right here. Okay? Those first three, this is how you form that progressive. Now, 4, 5, and 6. Present perfect progressive. All right, I dare you to say that 5 times as fast as you can. Go. Isn't that fun? Okay, so these 3 are a have verb, one of the have in the house, plus been, B-E-E-N, plus the same, a verb with an ing. All right, so draw this with those 4, 5, and 6. This guy right here. All right. Okay. Are we having fun?
Yeah.
All right, it's about to really get fun. All right. So turn over to 100. All right. Here are present and past progressive. Okay. So I highlighted in blue because we're still talking about verbs. And I've told you underneath, I want you to write that. Those are the be verbs that go with each. You have is, am, are, plus the ing. The past is was or were, plus your ing. All right? And then the future, still a be verb. It shall be or will be, plus your ing. The past, present, past, future progressive is a be verb plus the ing. All right? Now, the present, perfect, progressive. Did you say it 5 times as fast as you can? Did you? Present, perfect, progressive. All right. So this is going to be these. So it's going to be a have verb, one of those 3 in the have house, plus been, B-E-E-N, and the same ing verb. That's the same. We're changing the house, and we're adding B-E-E-N to all of these verbs, the perfect progressive ones. Remember, perfect means action completed. Progressive, action still going on. In verb world, both exist together. Both exist together. If you go back, look at page 99. Look at page 99. Number 4. What is number 4 in that list? Present, perfect, progressive. I'm sorry, the list underneath. All right. So, Caitlin, tell us what present, perfect, progressive is. Do you see that equals?
Action begun in the past and still continuing in the present.
Okay, so it began in the past. It's still continuing in the present. Look on page 100. There's an example sentence there. Present, perfect, progressive. Laura C., can you read one of those sentences there? 100. All right, so the action began in the past, but it's still going on. All right, tell us one of those sentences, Laura.
The committee realized it had been reviewing the wrong bill.
Oh, present, perfect, progressive. Keep going.
Oh, there we are. The originators of the bill have been proposing this idea to the appropriate committee.
Okay, so they started doing that in the past. They're still doing it. Okay. All right, Laura Murphy, tell us past perfect progressive. Go back to page 99. What is past perfect progressive? What does that equal?
It equals past action being continued terminated in the past.
All right, so turn to page 100. Let's see the sentence for that. Rose, they're at the very bottom. One of those two.
Past perfect progressive.
Past perfect progressive.
Before his secretary interrupted him last Tuesday, the president had been signing bills all day.
All right, so that happened in the past and it's done in the past, right? It happened in the past and it completed in the past. So that is your past perfect progressive. One more. Back to page 99. Zoe, tell us what future perfect progressive equals.
It means continuous future action completed at some time in the future.
Let's look at an example of that. Back to page 101 at the top. Jacob, read one of those two sentences at the top. Page 101 for future perfect progressive. Oh, did I show you that? I haven't shown you that yet, have I? Well, read one of those sentences anyway. I'll show you that in a second.
At the end of this term, Miss Ishigaki will have been representing her community on the school board for 16 years.
Okay, so that action is happening in the future and continuing in the future. All right, so at the top, I'm sorry, I didn't show you that. Future perfect progressive will have been, shall have been with the ing. Will have been, shall have been with the ing. You guys are doing great. I know this is picky. Hang in there. We're getting to linking verbs, and that will be a lot more familiar to you. And I got a video I want you to watch with a bear,
Yay.
because bears are great.
Yay.
This one is especially furry and cute. All right, so let's look at 101. Just jump down a little bit. Orange and blue. All right, so let's just get used to these verbs. All right, so the subject is in orange and your verb is in blue. So for A, your subject is we shall have been studying. That is future perfect progressive. Letter B, house was discussing. House is your subject, was discussing. That is your past progressive. Senate will be evaluating. Senate is your subject. Will be evaluating is your future progressive. If it has that B-E-E-N, that been, now you know you're in perfect progressive world. Something is perfect progressive. It's either past or present or future. All right? D, house, senate, those are both the subject. Had been altering. That is your past perfect progressive. Senators are voting. Senators is your subject. Are voting is your present progressive. And F, president has been observing. Has been observing. That is your present perfect progressive. Woo! Are we having fun?
Yes.
All right, let's do just a little practice. Turn to page 102. All right, I want you to do what we just did here. So you're going to tell me the subject, you're going to tell me the verb, and then you've got to tell me the big fun. Is it? All right, you're going to tell me, is it present, past, or future progressive? Present, past, future, perfect progressive. All right, you're going to have one example of each, A through F. Just do A through F. Tell me the subject, tell me the verb. You can highlight those, just like we did. Highlight subject in orange, highlight verb in blue. And which is it? One of the six. There are 6 sentences. You're going to have one of each example. Here, I can put the choices up here for you, so you don't have to keep flipping back. All right, so it's going to be present, progressive. Can I just write it one time and you know what it is? Bump, bump. Bump, bump. You're going to look for a B. Oh, I'm making a church. B, that's the B house. All right, present, goodness. I'm even confusing myself. Present. Perfect. Progressive. Past. Bump, 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 bump. Future. Bump, 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 bump. All right, and this is going to be a have. You're in the have house. Then, and the same, verb ing. This is the same. Okay, got it? You're off and running, having fun. Don't you love this picky grammar? So fun. Yeah. Hang in there. Cute, cuddly linking verb bear is coming. It will make all of the picky grammar go away until you have to do it for homework. Remember, you're only going to get one of each. Wow, my voice sounds different when I take this out. I have to be like so loud. I sound really loud, like when I'm, it's like so weird. I can be quiet. Someday we won't have to wear these anymore. You guys are doing great.
We're gonna host like a huge party and have all our friends at our house, and we're all gonna breathe on each other.
Just a breathe party. Okay, just a breathing party. That sounds great. Just breathing. Okay. A breathing and a burn the mask party. Unless you really want to keep yours, you become attached to it.
I think they'll be like
I think so. All right, A. Let's start. Where are we going to start? Who's got A? Where can we start? Can we start with Laura? All right, let's go to Laura. So, Laura, if you'll do A, who's going to do B? Jacob, will you do B? C. Who's going to do C? Thank you, Josh. D. D. Laura. Yes, Laura M. E. E. Thank you, Andrew. One more. F. Thank you, Caitlin. All right, Laura. C. Tell us A.
That's past progressive.
Past progressive is correct. Tell us subject and verb.
The subject is the bill, and then the verb is was passing.
Yes, so here's your subject. Bill was passing is your verb, and it is past progressive. Good. B.
Future progressive.
Yes. Subject.
I
I is the subject. Verb.
shall be watching.
Shall be watching. There it is. Good. Future progressive. C.
Is it present perfect?
It
Present progressive.
It is present progressive. Yes. C is present progressive. Subject.
Present
President. Yes.
is
Verb
is
is signing. Yep. There you go.
Signing.
There's the verb. Is signing.
bodies.
It is present progressive. Present pro. All right. D.
Present perfect progressive.
Present perfect progressive. You said that very well. I heard every word. Can you say it 5 times fast?
Present perfect progressive. Present perfect progressive.
That's
I
good.
got 30.
That's good. All right. Subject.
President
President. There is your subject. All right. Verb.
had been vetoed.
Had been vetoing. Yes. There it is. Okay. Oh, wait. Did you say present perfect progressive? You totally did. It's my mistake.
Sorry, I wrote past perfect.
It's past perfect. Yes. Past is right. My mistake. Sorry about that, Lauren. All right. E. Who's got E?
Future perfect progressive.
It's a future per-pro. Yeah. Future per-pros. Right. All right. Subject.
Kelly
Kelly all by herself. Verb.
will have been working.
Yes, will have been working. There she is. Good for Kelly. All right, F.
Present perfect progressive.
There it is. All right, the pres per pro. Yes, pres per pro. Yep. Subject.
President
Yes. Verb.
has been holding.
Yes, very good. All right. We got through it. You're going to have fun with that homework. And by fun, I mean you're not going to have fun without them. All right, let's go to 106, linking verbs. Linking verbs. One more, and then we'll take a break, and then we'll talk about other fun stuff. Yay. All right, linking verbs. We're in blue because we're talking about the verbs. All right, you've got two new vocabulary, censor and censure. Woo, those are close. Censor means to edit. It's when you edit something, take out what is objectionable. You hear about this sometimes in the news. You know, if the government tries to censor a newspaper, they try to take out what is maybe condemning the government. They don't want people to read about things that condemn the government, so they censor it, edit it. Censure is to condemn or blame. It's a different word, but woo, are they close. All right, linking verbs. Dun, 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 dun. Here we go. Let's highlight this definition in blue. A linking verb links the subject of a sentence to the rest of the predicate. It does not show action, and it is not helping the action verb. It's not a helping verb. It connects a name to the description in the sentence. And I want you to draw a little chain. Just draw a little chain. Linking verb. Just over in the margin beside linking verb. Just draw yourself a little chain. All right? Draw yourself a little chain. It's a linking verb. It links. It connects. All right? Links. It connects. All right? All right. Now, we could look at these examples here, but they're not very interesting. I've got a better one. But before I show it to you, I do want you to make a note at the bottom. Here are 8 common linking verbs. You have to memorize these for next week, these 8. All right, so highlight and maybe put a star and put memorize right here. There's a note on the homework as well. All right, but you might want to make a note of that right here. These 8. All right. Is, am, are, was, were, be, being, been. Are there any more than that? Yes, there are. Look at the top of page 107. Woo, there's 11 more. Highlight these. Highlight these, top of page 107. Guess what? This is me. Are we going to have to memorize those as well? Yes, you will. Put a star, memorize. All right, so that is 19. 19 total linking verbs to memorize for next week. These 11 and those 8. All right. All right, let me show you this little thing here. You can look at this later if you want. It's in the folder for our class. There we are. Let's go back. All right. Here we are, week 6. Wow, I feel like we've done that already. Here we go. Action and linking verbs. All right, so you don't have to take notes with this, but this will remind you what the linking verbs are, what they do. Sometimes you got to click it twice before it'll show it to you. Look at that bear. Isn't he cute? Nice. Laura, can you get those lights, please? We might be able to see Mr. Pink Bear better here. Furry pink bear. Oh, yes. Okay. It's going to start.
Hello, grammarians. Today we're talking about verbs and bears. So we had previously established at least one thing about the verb, and that was that it can show actions. But today I'd like to introduce the idea that the verb can link ideas to one another. In fact, we have this whole class of verbs that we call linking verbs.
Darn.
Or if you want to call it something fancier, we call that state of being verbs. These linking verbs include all forms of the verb to be, which I've handily written out for you. So I am, he is, we are, be nice, they were being, they have been, he was, we were. Now we use a linking verb when we want to connect one idea to another. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to divide the screen in half between the action side and the state of being side, just to show you what I mean. So we use action verbs to show what something does, whereas we use state of being verbs to show what something is. So let's bring it back to this bear. Let's think of an action for this bear to do. What is a bear-like thing to do? The bear eats a fish. That's an action. That's something the bear is doing. The bear is hungry, however, is not something that the bear is doing, it's something that the bear is. So what is doing here is connecting the word hungry to the word bear. It's linking it. Some verbs can be used both ways. They can be used both as actions and as linking verbs, and I'll show you an example of that. You could say, the bear looked at me, which is to say the bear is doing a thing, looking at something, namely me. But we could also say, using the same verb, the bear looked lonely. Now in this case, this is describing how the bear looks, what the bear looks like. This looking is not something the bear is doing, it is how the bear appears to a viewer. So, looked is connecting lonely to bear. It is linking lonely to bear. It is a linking verb. By the same token, we could say for an action, the bear smells a person. What is it smelling? A person. But we could also say, the bear smells like cinnamon, which I grant you is pretty unlikely. Don't go smelling bears. But what smells is doing here is connecting the idea of cinnamon to the bear. The bear isn't smelling the cinnamon, the bear smells like cinnamon. And that's the difference between a linking verb and an action verb. So a linking verb shows what something is, an action verb shows what something does. So the bear is hungry, the bear looked lonely, the bear smells like cinnamon. These all reflect something about what the bear is, how it's being. You can learn anything, David out.
Okay, all right, lights. Thank you. Wasn't that cute? That bear is great. You can see that bear later. Let's get back. Here we are. Okay. All right, so let's talk about this right here. This is page 107. Okay. Because he said in the video, and it's true, sometimes your linking verb, wait.
There's one more type of verb, which includes the to be verbs, that describes a state of being and is
Hold
not
on, we got to
action.
turn that off.
These verbs are
Stop.
called linking because they connect the subject to the rest of the sentence.
So it's up here, it's up here.
Hello, grammarians. Today,
Okay. Take two. All right. Take two of the class notes. All right, here we go. We're back to this. Okay. Sometimes the same word is a linking verb in one sentence and it's an action verb in another sentence. Copy this down and then we'll talk about this. This is how we can tell. So the way that you can tell, is this a linking verb in this sentence or is this an action verb, is you can use is and are. That's why I circled them. Use is or are. Right? Is and are both linking verbs. So you should be able to replace a verb in a sentence with is, then that's a linking verb. Even if it's not the word is. In this example, it's the word feels. Do you see feels here? So in that sentence, the senator feels exuberant. Is it acting as a linking verb or is it an action verb? The way to tell is to replace it with is. The senator is exuberant. Does that make sense? Yes. Then this feels is a linking verb. Okay? If you can replace it with is, then it's acting like a linking verb. But if it doesn't work that way, same word, feels. The senator feels the tension in the room. All right, so let's take out feels and put is. The senator is the tension in the room. Okay, now it doesn't make sense. So in this sentence, feels is an action verb. Up here it was linking. Here it is action. All right. Turn over. Let me show you one more example. Page 106. Right here, 106. No, I'm sorry, 108. Find G and H in the middle. G and H. Okay? Smelled. One of those smelled is an action verb. One of those smelled is a linking verb. How do you know the difference? We'll take out the word smelled and put, let's see, in this case it's a plural subject, so we want to use are. All right, so smelled. We smelled freshly popped popcorn. Is that linking or action? We take out smelled, we put in are. We are freshly popped popcorn. No. So G is an action verb because it doesn't work with a linking verb. What about H? The popcorn smelled delicious. Take out smelled, put in is. The popcorn is delicious. Yes, that makes sense. So H is a linking verb. Does that make sense? Yeah, that's your little test. All right. You're going to have fun with that. No, you're not. All right. That's all the time we have for the instruction. Let me give you 3 minutes to break, stretch, go get some water, do some push-ups if you need to. We're going to come back and we're going to talk about some writing. Yeah, go to the bathroom. Everybody should go out in the hall at least. Go out there. Take your mask off and breathe for a moment. Then you have to put it back on. We made it all dark. Okay. Do we like it dark? Do we like the light? We like the natural light. Okay. To see the big furry bear, we had to make it all dark.
It's kind of like you're in a hospital.
What's that?
It's kind of like you're in a hospital.
It is, yes. That's not a good thing. We don't like that. Are you all back? Except Josh is in the restroom. Okay. All right. Did you do some push-ups? Maybe some jumping jacks?
So many.
So many. You guys are worn out. Did you stretch? Could do down dog? Do cat and cow? Do some tree pose? Do your yoga? All right. We're going to this guy. Windows. You'll need all of your highlighters and you'll need a pencil. All of your highlighters and you'll need a pencil. You guys are real troopers. This is hard, picky stuff, and we're just sailing through it. Maybe it doesn't feel like that to you. Does it feel like Mrs. Me sailing? It feels like Tom stands still when we talk about the grammar. Is that how it feels? Caitlin, you can open up that window, dear. Then natural light. Yes. Something happy. The outside. Okay. All right, so here we are. Windows, all of your highlighters, and a pencil. Today we're going to talk about 2 things. Probably a review for you. Plot analysis, plot diagram, and conflict. All right, plot diagram. Have you seen this before? The little mountain thing? All right. You're all trying to figure out, what is that picture? Can anybody see it?
Yep.
You know what this is? Captain America versus Captain America. Captain America wins. Yep.
Really?
It's from Endgame. Yeah. Yes, I know. Crazy. All right.
I haven't watched Endgame,
So that's Captain America versus Captain America. Yeah.
spoiler, Captain America wins.
Captain America wins. Yep. Yep. All right, so we're going to talk about plot diagram a little bit and conflict. All right, on page 37. On page 37. All right, let me go to the notes. These also are in Schoology. If you want to go back and read through the notes again, Mrs. Me said, if one time with these notes is not enough, I need more time with the notes. Okay, you can have more time with the notes. All right, well, let's start with Rose. Would you read page 37? We're going to start this paragraph right here, please. Josh.
I don't have my book.
Okay, can you share with somebody, please?
Yeah, is it on Schoology section?
It is, yes. Yes. You'll be able to go back and put those in, absolutely. I know you'll want to. You won't want to miss it. All right, Rose, go.
Think of the last story you read, one that you really enjoyed. Then ask yourself some questions. What made that story so good? Why did you like it? Chances are it had a good plot, a good storyline. You enjoyed the action.
Keep going. You're doing great. Keep going. Keep reading.
Plot is the basic building block of literature. It is the answer to the what happens and why question. It includes the action, the story's event, and motivation, why the event occurs. When young children began writing stories, they will sometimes write pages and pages of narrative. That is sequential actions.
Yeah, just action events that happen in this order.
However, nothing really happens, so something must happen in the plot. Read and annotate in the following story, one of Aesop's fables.
All right, so we're going to read this story, and then we're going to talk about what does this have to do with plot, what is the important thing plot needs in order to be an interesting story. All right, so Androcles and the Lion by Aesop. Would any volunteer want to read this to us? The story Androcles? Thank you, Jacob. Yes.
A slave named Androcles once escaped from his master and fled to the forest. As he was wandering about there, he came upon a wounded lion who was lying down, moaning and groaning. At first, Androcles turned to flee, but finding that the lion did not pursue him, he turned back and went up to him. As he came near, the lion held out his paw, which was all swollen and bleeding. Androcles found that a huge thorn had punctured it and was causing all the pain. He pulled out the thorn and bound up the paw of the lion, who was soon able to rise and lick the hand of Androcles like a dog. Then the lion took Androcles to his cave and every day brought the man meat so he could live. Do you want me to keep reading?
I do. You're doing a great job.
Shortly afterwards, both Androcles and the lion were captured. The slave was sentenced to be thrown to the lion after the latter had been kept without food for several days. The emperor and all his court had came to see the spectacle, and Androcles was led out into the middle of the arena. Soon the lion was let loose from his den and rushed bounding and roaring towards his victim. But as soon as he came near to Androcles, he recognized his friend. He fawned upon Androcles and licked his hand like a friendly dog. The emperor, surprised at this, summoned Androcles to him. He told him the whole story. Impressed with his noble soul, the emperor pardoned and released Androcles. The lion he let loose to his native forest.
All right, thank you. And AC, would you read the last little bit right there at the bottom?
If the story had ended after Androcles met a lion in the forest and pulled a thorn out of his paw, the story wouldn't have much of a plot. He was a good guy who helped out a lion. So what? By adding the complication of the escape from his master and the possibility of death in the arena, Aesop added conflict. Conflict is an essential element of plot. Without conflict, there is no story. A long narrative with no opposing forces is just a long narrative. Nice explanation, but that's all.
All right. So what makes the difference in an interesting story?
Plot.
Well, climax, yes. Conflict, which does have to do with that. You're ahead. Very good, Jacob. Conflict. You've got to have a conflict. It's not interesting just to hear this happened and then this happened and this happened and this happened. We want conflict, right? So turn to page 38, and here are some types of conflict, and we want to draw some pictures here, little stick figures. I want you to draw these in your notes as well. There are five types of conflict that you might run into in stories. And these conflicts, this is what gives the stories interest. This is what makes it, entertaining and interesting for us, this conflict. So you can have man versus man, and so you have two people against each other. Man versus man. You can have man versus society. All right, and this would be one person versus a group of people. All right, society, what is popular in society, what is typical or usual. Okay, what are the laws in society or a culture, public opinion. All right, man versus society is a conflict. You can have man versus God. All right, a person who is struggling with God's will, right, or struggling to control things. You can have man versus himself, so that's a person thinking with a question mark, and that's a heart. All right, so man versus himself is usually battling with maybe thoughts or what they're feeling. The conflict is within. They know they should do this, but they're having a hard time with it. They're thinking about this. They're feeling this. It's within them. Or man versus nature. All right, so you got a force of nature, a hurricane, a tornado, a storm, extreme heat. Those are trees. Don't they look like trees? Yeah, they do. Yeah. Although these trees look nice, they don't look like bad trees. All right, but man versus nature. All right, so those are your conflicts. This is what makes your story interesting. Okay, so if we think about Androcles and the lion, what type of conflict is that? And here's what you ask yourself right here. There's 3 questions. I want you to highlight these. All right, so 3 questions in the margin. This is how you know what the conflict is. You ask yourself 3 questions. What is the main character's problem? What does he not have that he wants? And what or who is causing the problem? All right, those are the 3 questions you ask yourself. This is how you know what the conflict is. Because when you first think, all right, what's the conflict of Androcles and the lion? You might think, well, it's Androcles and the lion. Okay, you've got the lion, you've got this guy, you've got man versus nature. All right, but what is the character's problem in the story? He got captured, right? That has nothing to do with the lion, right? So he got captured. What does he not have that he wants? Freedom. That also has nothing to do with the lion, right? Who or what is causing the problem?
The emperor.
Yeah, the emperor. Okay? So if you think, well, it can't be Androcles and the lion because those 3 questions have nothing to do with the lion, right? But they do have something to do with Androcles and the emperor. So what conflict is in that story then? Man versus man. Yeah, it's man versus man. All right? What about the gift of the Magi? All right, let's talk about Miss Della. Miss Della. All right, we want one of those conflicts for Miss Della. All right? What is the problem? What is Della's problem? Let's ask ourselves these questions. AC.
She doesn't have enough money to buy her husband a gift.
Okay, how much does she have? Do you guys remember?
$1.
$1.87, right? So she does have some money, right? She's got $1.87. She could buy him some gum. But it's not enough for... an expensive, what she really wants to get him, right? She wants to get him an expensive gift. She wants to get him the watch chain. All right, so what does she not have that she wants?
Money.
Money for Jim, the chain, the expensive gift. She does have $1.87, which could buy a pencil. All right, that would be a gift, but it's not the one she wants to get him, right? So who is causing, or what is causing the problem?
Expenses. Society.
Yeah.
Herself. Yeah. Why is Della causing that problem for herself? Yeah, she's not satisfied with herself. It's her own problem. She does have $1.87, right? Is it about how expensive a gift is, or is it about the love and the thought? Don't your parents tell you that all? It's not about the gift. It's about the thought behind the gift, right? All right. So it's true. It's true. So she does have $1.87 that she could, with love in her heart, do something nice and give him a gift. But Della wants to get him a certain gift that is expensive, this chain. All right. So the conflict is Della versus Della. It's man versus herself. All right. Because it's not the gift she really wants to get him. It's the gift, so she struggles with that within herself. All right? Make sense? All right. So turn to page 39. So Jacob has already got us thinking about this. Let's talk about the parts of the story that do happen in most stories that are interesting. We have 5 parts, and each part is a different color. Each part is a different color. All right, that helps us keep them separate. All right, so every part of your story, I can show you both of these at the same time. Every part of your story is going to have an exposition. So this is background information. All right, it could be introducing the characters. It could be the setting where the story takes place. Perhaps it's something that happened in the past that has something to do with the character as we're reading about them. And that exposition will have what we call an inciting moment. All right, so it will have some action that begins the story. Some action that begins the story. So we talk about the characters, here's the setting, but then relating to the story, there's going to be some problem, an inciting moment, an action, a problem that begins the story. And then we have our rising action. All right, so this is how the character is trying to deal with that problem. All right, this is how the character is trying to deal with that conflict. Now, eventually, hopefully, if it's a good story, they will solve the problem. All right, it may not be a positive way to solve it. It might not be good, but the problem has to get solved. That's what we want in the story. If the problem doesn't get solved, we don't like that story, right? Did any of you, I don't know, have any of you watched the Lord of the Rings movies? Okay, so when I first watched the first one in the theater, I had no idea that it was one of 3. So I watched the first one, and it got to the end, and I'm like, what happened? Nothing is solved. They're still walking. And you don't like that. You want it to be solved. We want our stories to solve their problems, and that is the climax. When the problem is solved, Frodo throws the ring into the lake of fire. Spoiler alert. All right. Problem is solved. That's your climax. Okay? All right. And then you'll have your falling action. So that some events that happen after you have the climax, and then a resolution. How would you say that French word that begins with a D? Anybody know? Denouement. Say it very snotty and French-like if you say it. Denouement. Put a sneer. You got to be really snotty when you say it. Yeah. Denouement. All right. There you have your resolution. So what happens at the end of the story? All right. So if we looked at Androcles. Androcles. Same colors here, same colors. So our exposition would be Androcles escapes. Right, he escapes. The inciting moment, he meets the lion. That gets our whole action started. All right, our rising action. Androcles pulls the thorn from the lion's paw. Then the lion and Androcles are captured. Now, the climax happens when the two meet in the arena, Androcles and the lion. Our falling action, the lion fawns on him. He remembers him as a friend. The emperor hears about this, and the denouement. Try not to say it like a southerner. It's hard. Like a French snotty person. Denouement. Androcles is pardoned and free. Right? And so there is our resolution. All right? It's easy to see that in that short little story. If you were going to do the Lord of the Rings, for example, on a plot diagram, your plot diagram would be as tall as this room, wouldn't it? Tall as the building here, right? I mean, there's a lot of rising action. You even have stories within stories. You've got plot diagrams within the big plot diagram. All right. Sound good? Let's talk about your homework. I don't have copies of these for you, but they're right here in the folder, so just look up here. Guess what you're going to get to do?
Write a plot diagram.
Yes, you are. Yay! I can tell you're excited. All right. So here's what I have for you. Don't start packing up. Don't start packing up. Be still. I'll tell you when you can start packing up in just a second. All right. I've got a story for you. I'll show you where to find it in a second. The Cop and the Anthem. It's another O. Henry. Anybody read this one before? It's very interesting. All right. So the first thing you'll do is you'll read this story. I'll show you the link in a second. And you will plot diagram it. Okay? Plot diagram it. And then, because we've talked a lot about conflict, there are some questions for you to answer about that underneath. Okay? And you will want to have this opened as you're doing that homework just to help you remind you what the different parts of the plot diagram are and the different conflicts here. Okay? And now, I have a link for you. Now, and that's it. Now, we're going to eventually write about this. But this is all you have to do this week just to prepare for the writing, which is coming. Yay. Because I knew you would want to. Mrs. Meese, are we going to write a paragraph about this? Maybe an essay? Yes. A paragraph. All right. Yay. So in the folder, right here, The Cop and the Anthem. It's an online story. Remember, you got to click it a couple of times. And it's right here. All right, it's all right. It's only 6 pages. It looks big, ginormous because it's on my computer here, but it's not big, ginormous. All right, and let's get all right. Now you can start to back up. If you have any questions while you are working on your homework, please text or email and let me know. Don't forget, you've got the linking verbs you've got to memorize for next week. It's on the homework sheet. You guys have been real troopers today. An awesome job paying attention. I hope that you're able to get outside and enjoy some time in this beautiful weather. Let's hope fall is here to stay. It would be great. You guys are dismissed. Have a wonderful afternoon. You're welcome. Have a great afternoon, everybody. Get outside. Enjoy. Bye. You're welcome. You're welcome. Enjoy the rest of your day, you guys.
Mrs. Meese?
Yes.
I have a quick question.
Go
So they say like that there's the 6 main types of verbs, but where does the present participles or the past participles or the future participles? Are those not the main parts of verbs?
So they are,
Okay.
but they don't have, for right now, they don't have anything to do with those perfect progressive ones.
Okay.
And so we were just focusing on those.
All right.
So they do. They
Okay.
do have to do with it, but not today.
All right.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes. More fun to come.
Yes. Thank you, Mrs. Lee.
You're welcome. Have a wonderful rest of your day, Zoe.
Thank you. You too.